words, what would you call the current economic situation of Nigeria? What can you describe the current economic situation of Nigeria? What can you describe it as?
Mr. Adegoke, I'm sure it
Yes,
will
sir.
be more than one or two words, and I will explain to you why. In recent
All right,
time,
sir.
yes, in recent time, I've been able to understand what is the foundation for the problems that we are having as a nation and as an individual. But before I speak on that, what we are going through is what we have always been going through. Let me repeat that. There's nothing new, there's nothing strange in the economic challenges that we are facing now. We have had it before, and I will tell you how. The unfortunate thing is that we are going to have it again and again, no matter who is in government. I said we have had it before, because when I was very young, when I was much younger, about 50 years ago, we had a musician who released a record, and that record summarized the situation of things at the time. And what is that song? In Yoruba, Ìlú le o, kò sówó lóde. Ìlú le o, kò sówó lóde. Obìnrin kígbe, ọkùnrin kígbe, and on and on. In English, country is very hard. Everybody is crying. Men and women are complaining. That song will be very ideal also for this present time. In another 20 years, another 30 years, we are going to sing that song again and again until we discover the purpose for which God created Nigeria. And that is why I'm starting with this, because it's very, very important. Not long ago, so a few years ago, there was another song. It was when Obasanjo was the president. And I remember Obasanjo quarreled with that particular young musician. In Nigeria, Jaga Jaga, Nigeria, Jaga Jaga. It's the same song that will fit for a time like this. So the issue of Nigerian economy goes beyond the understanding of the economist. It goes beyond the grammar of trying to talk about, production, no production, the exchange rate of naira to a dollar is deeper than that. And I don't want that one to distract us this evening, but I'll just give you an inroad to that by saying one or two words. That one, God has created every human being for a purpose. God has also created every nation for a purpose. The tragedy is that individuals, more than 90%, don't actually know the purpose for which God has created them. And that is why, as an individual, even when you are rich, unless you are on purpose, you will live a life of stress. You will live a life of prayer. Let me just leave that aside, because that is not what I want to talk about. As a nation, God has created every nation of the world for a purpose. And because that is not the focus this evening, let me quickly say this, that God created Europe, America for a purpose. God created Africa for a purpose. God created Nigeria, West Africa for a purpose. The truth of the matter is that we are far away from that purpose. So far away from that purpose. When you are not working according to the purpose of God for your nation, for your life as an individual, then you'll be a victim of corruption, you'll be a victim of maladministration, you'll be a victim of fraud. And if it's not going to get too complicated, I'm convinced that God created the so-called developed countries of old, America and Europe, for what their forefathers started doing. That is, creating machines, having telephone, having motor vehicles. Unfortunately, those early investors now recruited the others as slaves to work for them. That is why over there, you find people working, but they take care of their workers. Like I put them in a quarter. They take care of them, make sure they have a vehicle, make sure they have a house to live on. But ask them, 80% of them, at the end of the month of comfortable living, they don't have $100, $200 in their savings. So they're going to work in servitude for this capitalists. So a majority of them, even in that land, are not working according to the purpose of God for their life. Now, at a point in time, when the people came to Africa on voyage, they discovered that they could get people to work for them without having to make those people comfortable. That is the beginning of slavery. But quickly, to let you know the relevance of what I'm saying, by the time they now came to Africa, they changed everything from Africa. The last person in my lineage that ever had a farm was my great-grandfather. My father was educated. Therefore, it was in his head that go and get a job, get paid. At 60, you retire, or 55 at that time, you retire, and then you are paying a paltry sum for the rest of life. So that caught up with people like me, that by the time I left the university, I applied for 5 jobs. The 5 jobs are not in any way connected. I applied to the immigration, I applied to the police, I applied to one insurance company, I applied to banking, and I applied to one legal firm. When the letters came, I never actually asked God the purpose. So I look at them, I picked the bank because that was one that gave me the highest salary, and they were prepared to give me a car immediately. And that made me comfortable. So I started going on that course. That might not be the course that God wanted for me. Even as a general manager in a bank, when I was well paid, I was afraid that I might lose my job in a month's time and there will be nothing for me to feed on. Now, what is happening in Nigeria is that 95% of us, we have left the purpose of which God has created us. We are looking for money. People are focusing on having money to make a living or having money to own houses and have become billionaire. And that may not be the purpose of which God has created them. So the strife is going to continue. When that is your focus, you begin to look for money, for corruption. You begin to steal money. Don't let us deceive ourselves. Those of us that are talking, including people in churches and mosques, if they have access to governance, they also reason the same way. Forget about, in spite of all the caution, we Christians, for instance, want to say that, oh, Christians should be in government. Christians should be in government. Things will get better. We are deceiving ourselves. I remember when I was going to contest in Ondo State. Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
I will not jump in 2 minutes.
Thank you. We really appreciate your going. Okay, sir.
Yes, in 2 minutes, I will leave that and we can go on course. So when I was going to contest in Ondo State, I went to that DGO, Pastor Adeboye, and he said, oh, well, when Christians are going to this, well, it's okay, but I'm afraid. And he gave me examples of people that were very fervent in fellowship, very fervent in Christian fellowship, that as soon as they got to power, they forgot about everything. That was possible because we are looking for money, we are looking for sustenance, we are looking for wealth. I think I'll just leave it like that. So the economic problem we are having, I'm thinking beyond the permutation of the economies. I'm thinking beyond putting a blame somewhere that because production is low, because the Nigerians are not working, that will continue to be so until we face the area that God really wants us to face. I'm sorry I've taken your time on that. I really apologize for that. Over to you, Mr. Adegoke.